Okay, welcome to the fourth activity for Unit 2, Lesson 2, which is talking about quarters and dimes. In this activity, it asks you, it gives you the information that 4 quarters are equal in value to 10 dimes. It asks you to determine how many dimes are equal to the value of 6 quarters, how many dimes are equal to the value of 14 quarters, and what value belongs next to the 1 in the table, and what does it mean in this context. So we can use our same idea of proportional relationships to use a table to answer these questions. And what we can do here is take a closer look at when we have 4 quarters and 10 dimes. So to figure out what the constant of proportionality is, remember that's the number you multiply the first column by to get the second column. What we are going to need to do is set up a ratio of the number of dimes to the number of quarters. So I'm going to do 10 over 4. Now that ratio can simplify to 5 over 2. And if we wanted to write that as a decimal, we can say that 5 over 2 is equal to 2.5. So that means I'm going to multiply 4 by 2.5 to get 10. Now to answer the first question, it wants to know how many dimes are equal to 6 quarters. So I'm going to use that same constant of proportionality and apply it to the next row. I'm going to take 6 and multiply by 2.5. So 6 times 2.5 is 15. And if I were to set up that ratio, I again would have 15 over 6. And if I simplify by dividing by 3 over 3, I again end up with that 5 over 2, which is equal to 2.5. I'm going to repeat that for 14 quarters. So I'm going to again multiply by 2.5, which is 35. And if I were to write that ratio, 35 over 15, simplify it by dividing by 7 over 7, I would get 5 over 2, which is 2.5 as a decimal. Now, last but not least, it wants to know what the value belongs next to the 1 in the table. So I'm just going to use the constant of proportionality, multiply by 2.5. 1 times 2.5 is just 2.5. And if I were to write that as a ratio, I would end up with 2.5 over 1, which we have that pesky decimal. We don't really like decimals and fractions, so just go ahead and convert that to a permanent decimal. 2.5 divided by 1 is just 2.5. So you can see here that that 2.5 shows up all the way down. So it's a really important number. So we said for 6 quarters, it would be 15. For 6 quarters, it would be 15 dimes. For 14 quarters, it would be 35 dimes. And the number that's next to the 1 is going to be the number 2.5. So notice the 1 has the constant of proportionality next to it. So anytime you have a table, if you have the number 1 in it, the number next to it is automatically going to be the constant of proportionality. So keep that in mind. Now, if we recall, what does this mean in this context? We need to be very specific, and we're talking about quarters and dimes. So we are saying that for every 1 quarter, there are 2.5 dimes. So that's what it means in this context. So go ahead and screenshot this to add to your notes that you had the previous screenshots added to. And thank you.